So over the last year or so, I've built my audience on Twitter up to around 8,000 followers, and I've made a couple of $1,000s online. I'll put a screenshot. I've done it through various different methods. So I've done coaching, which is what I do now, consulting, I've sold courses, I've been a funnel builder in the past, like I did funnels for people. I was a ghostwriter. So I've done a bunch of things so far, a lot of experimenting. And I've also worked with a bunch of different people. So I've worked with people that were sales coaches. I've worked with people that were fitness coaches. I've worked with people that were ghostwriters, copywriters, all of these things. And I think I finally figured out a way to replicate this process for just about anybody, even if you're completely new to this and you don't even have an audience on Twitter. So step one is you need some kind of skills or you need some experience doing something, So whether that be you worked in a company as like a tech consultant or something like that, you could use that and then do the same thing, but just do it in like a freelancing way, right? So you basically just go to other companies and then you consult them on whatever tech consultant consults people on. So it's as simple as that, really. Or if you have any of the traditional high value skills, such as sales, marketing, copywriting, things like that, you could sell that to other people as a service, or you could coach people on that, or you could consult people on that. But you need some kind of skill. You need something that you can teach other people, and you need something that you can kind of build your brand around. Now, you can build your brand around yourself. That's a very important part of this, but you need some kind of skill that people follow you to learn something from. And it could also be something as simple as self-improvement. There's a lot of self-improvement coaches out there, but they just don't position themselves as self-improvement coaches, if that makes sense, because it doesn't sell as well. But anyways, that's the first step. You need to be somebody in that sense, So you need to go out there in the real world to learn some kind of skill. And if you don't have a skill at the moment, you should still learn one. But while you're learning one, you can also still build your audience alongside that. And this is the important part. This is what's going to separate you from other people. Because a bunch of people know this now already. They already caught on to the whole thing of like learning something and then teaching what you learn, the whole Feynman technique and all that. But what's going to separate you from everybody else is the fact that you're going to put these things into practice and then you're going to teach it. So you're going to use what you learned, the theory, and you're also going to use your practical experience and combine them. And you're going to tell stories, and that's going to engage people, and people are going to follow you. So that's the first step. So the second step I already kind of went into, which is going to be building the audience. So I told you about that already. So while you're learning the skill, or if you already learned the skill, that means you already have a lot of experience doing these things, whether it be sales, whether it be copywriting, marketing, all these things. So what you're going to do is you're going to build your audience online the way I told you now. You're going to go learn a skill. You always have to be learning a skill. You're going to tell people about your experiences. You're going to teach them how to get better at the skill. You're going to be telling stories about the success that you've had and downfalls that you've had, the mistakes that you've had, things like that. Be open, be vulnerable, be open, be vulnerable, and be as authentic as possible. Basically, just be yourself. Don't really try and put up a facade, because people are going to eventually see through it. You're going to slip up at some point, So that's what you want to do in order to attract people, because that's what's going to make you stand out from everybody online. Your own personal experiences, your stories, your personality, things like that. For example, one of the biggest reasons why I've grown to where I am now in like a somewhat fast pace, up until I kind of slowed down a bit, is because I had this story that people followed me for, and people wanted to see the end of the story. It was kind of like it's sort of like a goal as well. So I have like this whole big goal that I tell everybody about. I don't tell everybody about it, but it's like in my Twitter bio, and it's about retiring my mom. That's my main goal from like this online business. So people see that, they're like, oh, that's a cool goal, and they see my content, they kind of like the content as well, and so they follow me for that. And they want to see the end goal. They want to see when I get to the point where I actually retire my mom. I don't know if that makes sense so far. And because of that, because they're following me for this, eventually they're going to see my other content as well, which is about client acquisition, which is the coaching service that I provide. And that is basically how I get sales through my content, which is kind of like a spoiler. But yeah, so that's basically that part of things. So what you're going to do is, once you're already somewhat proficient at the skill, or if you are already proficient at that skill because you've had experience doing it before, or like you got good results from it, you're gonna either do this as a service for other people, which is called done for you, which is DFY for short, or you're gonna do a done with you type of service, which is DWY for short. And done for you is basically you, let's say you do marketing like I did in the past. You're building funnels for people or whatever. You're basically gonna build the actual funnels for people. So you're actually gonna take your computer and build the landing page, the email sequences. You're maybe even gonna write the content for the people. And then yeah, you basically do all the work for them in a way. Or the other option that you have is that you're gonna be doing done with you type of work, which is more coaching, consulting. So that means you're not actually doing the work of building the funnel, but it's more so like you'll go on calls with people and you'll just advise them on what to do in order to like get more sales and to increase their conversion rate, whatever that might be. And that's the point that I'm at right now. So for the most part, you have like the three eternal niches, or like the three eternal markets. Yeah. So you have the three eternal markets, which is health, wealth, relationships. Typically with health and wealth, you can do a done with you service. That's usually coaching. That's usually like, yeah, any sort of coaching basically, or consulting that you can do. But with the wealth market, which is usually more business things, you typically need some experience before you can actually teach people things, unless you have some kind of title, like you had some kind of company, and you can just do consulting right off the bat. But for me, for example, I always wanted to do coaching in terms of business, but I just couldn't because I never had the experience, So I first had to get the experience doing funnels for people, got pretty good results for people like Warren that I helped make like $20,000 in a week or so. So once I got those results, and I got some results for some other people as well, I moved on to doing coaching. So now I just like tell people what to do on calls basically, and I give them like a course and I text them basically. And now it's like a lot less work basically for the same amount of money, if not more money. Like I made more money once I started doing coaching than I did with the done for you services, right? And I was working less. So it's kind of something that you need to build up to at some point if you want to. You could always start an agency or like a growth partner, still do done for you work. But yeah, that's typically how it goes. Okay, so now that you started posting some content, you started growing an audience, maybe you starting to get some followers and all that, you can start to DM people that are interested in your content, right? So you're going to be posting about something to do with whatever service you're providing, ideally, whatever your main niche is in a way. And people are going to like that. They're going to comment under those posts and they're going to retweet it. So those people that you see, or the people that even just follow you, you can DM them because they already like you somewhat, they like your content. So they chose to like it, they chose to comment under it, they chose to follow you for that. And that already leads to like warmer leads in a sense. So you can DM them and you can just get to know them a bit, Or what you can do is you can just offer them like a free service, basically. Not a free service, sorry. Or what you can do is you can just give them some free value. So what I do for some people, for example, is I give them free consultations, and then at the end of that consultation, which maybe lasts a few minutes, it's like 3 practical tips usually, I just ask them if they need more help with whatever I just told them to do, basically, which is usually related to client acquisition. And then if they say yes, which most of the time they do, you just pitch your service, whether that be your coaching offer or your done for you service. And if you think about it like this, what you're really doing is you're just helping them, you're just giving them more value, basically. Like your coaching offer or your high ticket service is the most value that you can provide to somebody. So if you're not telling them about that, that doesn't really make sense when I put it that way, right? And you just deserve to charge money for it because you're giving so much value to them. So that's basically how I go about things. I tell my coaching clients to go about things in a lot of ways. There's a lot more ways to go about that. So you could either do that, or you could just do cold outreach. Now, there are ways to go about this that I like and ways to go about it that I don't like. What most people usually recommend is what I don't like. So what I usually tell people is do the same thing, offer them free value, however that might be for your service. Figure that out, or check the link in the description, find out. But I'll make a video about this in the future. So also just like the video if you want to see that. But typically once this happens, okay, so now once you've already done that, once you've DM'd the person, you've offered them free value, they've agreed to the call with you, now you're going to be going on the sales call. And this is basically where you're going to give them the free value, and then you're going to do what I just said. You're going to pitch your services, however that might be. So find a sales script somewhere online. You can just find one by like Dan Cole, for example. He has a pretty good one in his community. But anyways, so you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna pitch the services. A lot of people are gonna say no. You have to be prepared for this. You're gonna take a lot more rejections than you are gonna get wins. But yeah, that's just the name of the game. The wins are gonna make up for the losses, basically. And that's basically it for like the selling your high ticket service. This is gonna be the main source of your income for the most part, especially when you're just starting out. And I'm guessing you are starting out since you're watching this video. And the last part of all of this, which is when things actually start to get kind of fun, is you're gonna create your own digital product. So once you have experience working with people, you have some testimonials, you've made some high value friends on the platform, you can create your own digital product, which is basically a condensed version of everything that you've learned, So you don't necessarily need to give your time anymore to be able to teach people things and to be able to make money. It's going to cost less than your other services, but it's still going to be able to make you a decent amount of money since your time isn't really tied to it. It kind of makes up for that in a sense. So you're going to create the digital product and you're going to start selling that. Or you can use that for your coaching offer to kind of like take a lot of the work for yourself out of the equation, so you can just give them the coaching, so you can just give them the course, most of the information is there. And then you basically just answer the questions that they have for you, if they have any, and you give them accountability, support, things like that, It could just be a bonus for your done for you clients, basically, if they want to, as something to help them once you aren't working with them anymore, could be something like that. And that's basically how you can start making passive income. But of course, it's gonna take some upfront work, So yeah, that's really about it. So that's the 6-step process of monetizing your Twitter audience, basically. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment sections, and I might just make a video on it in the future. So yeah, that's it for that. Follow me on Twitter. Links also in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.